All right, this is the last day before spring break, and let's have a little short lesson here so we can kind of finish up section 9.6. I know some of the stuff has been a little bit tough, some of it's easy, but we will get through this, I promise you. All right, I want to continue on with 9.6, and you may run into a couple of problems, and I started to write one up on the board. Negative 16k squared plus 8k, and let's make this plus 24. And let's make this equal to 0. All right, so we got some bigger numbers here. Don't let it scare you. All right. Well, remember what we talked about yesterday. We said that we don't want our leading coefficient to be a negative. So we're going to factor it out. Okay? Well, sometimes, like on this particular problem, when you look at it, I see those numbers up there. I see 16, 8, and 24. And they're all divisible by something. And you can see that from the 16, the 8, and the 24, 8 goes into all of them. So not only are we going to take the negative out of there, we are going to take the 8 out of there as well. Okay? So this a problem like this, we'll take a couple of different steps here. Well, now, I took a negative out. That means all the signs are going to change. And then I took an 8 out. How about if I write 2k squared? Negative 8 times 2k squared. Yeah, that gives us negative 16k squared, right? Remember, the signs will change now. This will be a negative, and this one will be a negative. Well, negative 8 times what will give you 8k, right? Negative 8 times negative k, if I distribute, will give me a positive 8k. And then at the end, of course, that's going to be a 3. Negative 8 times negative 3 will give me a positive 24. And we're going to set this equation equal to 0. What are we going to do with the negative 8 out there? We're going to leave it out there. That's not going to help us at all right now. So negative 8, it stays there. It's still there. And now I'm going to put my 2 parentheses. All right, and let's factor what I have left there. Well, for 2k squared, I don't really have a choice. It's going to have to be 2k times k. And then what about 3? All right, so we go back to our guess and check. All right, well, I think you're going to find it's going to be 3 and 1. And then you have to, I know the signs are going to be different because that's a negative 3. So one's going to be positive, one's going to be negative. So after you guess and check, to make sure that you factored it correctly, it's going to look like that. Okay? So let's find out what k is. 2k minus 3 has to equal 0. K plus 1 equals 0. In the first equation, I'm going to add 3 to both sides. 2k is equal to 3. And then divide by 2. So k is equal to 3 over 2. In the other equation, subtract 1 from each side. K is equal to negative 1. So the negative 8, the reason why we factored it out here, the reason we factored it out is so I could make my factoring a little bit easier. And that's what you want to look for. See if there's anything in common. All right, so let's see if we can do another one. That was, by the way, problem number 34 in your book. So maybe we can find another one like that. Okay, here's one. (14x squared plus 12x equals 2. All right? And when you have an equation like that, they want you to find what x is equal to. All right. Well, that doesn't equal 0. Remember we talked about that a couple days ago. I'm going to subtract 2 from each side because 2 minus 2 is 0. Now I have 14x squared plus 12x minus 2. And we factor. We want to make our factoring a little bit easier. And I look at the 14, the 12, and the 2. And what can I factor out of there? Yeah, 2. All right, because I can take every one of those numbers are divisible by 2. Seven x squared, because 2 times 7x squared is 14x squared, plus 6x minus, and you need the 1 there. We have to have the 1, because 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. Now let's factor. Put your parentheses. I have a negative 1. That means the signs are going to be different. So we go through our guess and check method. Well, for 7x squared, the only thing it could be is 7x times x. That's the only two numbers to multiply together to give you 7x squared. Okay, and for the 1, well, it's got to be 1 times 1, doesn't it? So now the only thing we have to worry about is the signs. I have a negative 1, so the signs are going to be different. And you're going to find that one's going to be positive, one's going to be negative. So you have to figure out which one is which. And I wrote down the correct factoring up there. What do we do with the 2 on the outside? Well, nothing really. We'll just leave it there. Now let's solve for the x. Either 7x minus 1 has to equal 0, or x plus 1 has to equal 0. On this one, I'm going to add 1 to both sides. 7x equals 1. And then divide by 7. So x is equal to 1/7. On the other equation, I'm going to subtract 1 from each side. x equals negative 1. All right? So that's a couple little twists and turns on the homework. We want to finish up 9.6. So all this week we have done 9.5. I spent 2 days there. And we spent 2 days on 9.6. Your homework. Well, this is a short lesson, so hopefully we'll get done in class. You can enjoy your spring break. And I want you to do well, let's do this first before we do that. I'm going to do another one of your homework problems for you. I'm going to do this problem here for you, okay? Because I know it looks a little bit different. Well, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to distribute first. I'm going to make that 12y squared minus 28y plus 16 equals 1. And you're going to see why I distributed that first. Now I'm going to subtract the 1 from each side to make this side equal to 0. 12y squared minus 28y plus 16 minus 1 is 15. And that's going to be a very tough factor. But we're going to let you do that. But that when you see something like that, get the distributing first, set it equal to 0, and then factor. All right. So the other day we left off with, I believe, problem number 25. So let's continue on page 597. And let's do problems 26. Hold on a minute. Yes, we did leave off at 25, so we're going to go from 26 through 37. I'm not going to give you a lot tonight. And then we're going to do 42 through 47. And then let's see. Then I want you to do on page 599. Let's do problems 16 through 24. So that gives you 8, 5, 13. That gives you about 22 problems or so. And you should have enough time in class to finish. Make sure you do all these problems. It's going to make your life a lot easier when you get back from spring break. I hope you guys have a wonderful spring break, and we'll talk to you when you get back.